All right, what is going on, guys? Christian from the Lay and Pray MMA podcast. Changes the name. Back with Trenton and Jeffrey. What's going on, guys?
Hello.
If you're catching us live now on YouTube, thank you for stopping in. Please hit that like button, subscribe, share the video. And if you're listening to us on Anchor or any of our other podcast platforms, whether it's Google Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, Pocket Casts, or Radio Public, thank you. And then please go ahead, check out our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, and please share away. Today's episode, what we're going to be discussing is the upcoming Fight Night card, which is headlined by Dan 50K Ige and the Korean Zombie, Ching Sung Jung. So,
Yes,
yeah, I'm super pumped for this fight card. Obviously, as we just discussed, I'm not super knowledgeable on some of the fighters. Whereas last fight card, the pay-per-view, it was a little more, there were more names that I know and their backgrounds that I know. But yeah, I'm just super pumped. Have you guys gotten to take a look at the fight card yet?
I'm looking at it right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jeffrey, is there any specific fight that you're looking forward to? I mean, obviously the main event for me is the one that I'm most excited about. Is there any other fights on the card that you saw and you're like, oh,
Yeah, Julian Erosa and Choi Sang-woo, whatever, however you say that. That fight's pretty. I like that fight because I think Erosa worked his way back up after like a couple tough losses. Then he did like the Contender Series or something like that, and now he's back in after filling in for somebody and then starching somebody in that last minute fill in. Yeah. So it's good to see him like getting back up there. And then with Choi, like he was like a fast up and comer. Like I think he was like 9-0 or some shit. And then got to the UFC and then lost 3 in a row, I think. And I think he's taken a step back and like trying to figure out what the fuck's going on, what got him there. And I think that'll be just a cool, not so much storylines because they're not big fighters, but just both of them, like this is kind of their last chance to cement themselves in the weight division, For
sure. Trenton.
Yeah, one of the other fights that I'm excited about is Matt Brown, Diego Lima.
That's me too. Yeah.
Just because it's Matt Brown, and I mean,
immortal baby.
His fights are always exciting, you know what I mean? And then Diego Lima, this is going to be an opportunity to take out a legend, I mean, Matt Brown he's a scrapper, man. That guy's all go nonstop, you know what I mean? So he's going to bring it, and this will be a good chance to see if he can take out a guy that had already retired and came back, you know what I mean? Like, let's see if he's on that level or not, and see where they're at.
For sure. For me, the fight that I think I'm most excited for is the Marlon Vera and Davey Grant fight. Just obviously Marlon Vera, he came off a tough loss against Jose Aldo, but that's a huge step up in competition because before he fought Sean O'Malley, I'll be 100% honest, I wasn't on the Marlon Vera train because I didn't really know who he was up until his amazing performance against Sean O'Malley. And
he's got a really good story going.
Yeah, for sure.
Like a narrative.
Yeah,
and he went to a decision with Aldo too.
Yeah, it was a decision. So I'm really interested to see how he does in this fight because he fought Davey in the past. I think it was before the UFC. Obviously, they were both a lot younger, and Davey ended up winning the fight by decision. I think it was a unanimous decision. It might have been a split decision. I can't remember off the top of my head. But they were both on the Believe You Me podcast together, Michael Bisping, his podcast. And they basically interviewed both of them at the same time and asked, there's a lot of respect there for both guys. It's not, it's not like they hate each other. It's not a huge rivalry. So I think it'll be interesting to see how different they are stylistically since the last time they fought, because obviously it's been, I think, 5 or 6 years since they last fought.
Okay.
And Marlon was very new in the game at the time.
Yeah. There's the other one that I'm interested in is Wellington, Turman, and Bruno Silva.
Yeah,
because
Bruno's
I
a
think
beast.
because Bruno's isn't he coming off of like a very long suspension?
I don't know. I hadn't looked. The last thing that I saw, he was a champion in a previous organization, and he's basically a knockout guy, and he's making his debut in the UFC.
Yeah, I thought.
I
Is there
think
another?
he's coming off like a giant suspension, like a 2-year suspension or some shit.
Huh? Was
And
it
then
PEDs?
Wellington, I don't even know. I don't remember. But Wellington's a fucking like an up and coming jujitsu guy who got beat in his last fight pretty handily. So
Who do you lose to?
somebody with a very proper name, dude.
He lost
Roberson?
to. It was Sanchez. Was it? I forget his first name. Sanchez won by TKO KO.
Andrew Sanchez?
I'm trying to think. I can't find his name right now. I just know Sanchez is his last name.
Sure shit ain't Diego.
No, it wasn't Diego Sanchez.
Lost to Andrew Sanchez.
That's okay.
Yeah.
And then he lost to Carl Roberson. That's the one I was thinking of.
Okay.
But like he's good, man. He's supposed to be really good up and comer. So we'll see. I think both of them, if they want to continue, gotta win this fight because I'm pretty sure Homeboy's coming off that suspension.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
thought I've seen the name Bruno Silva before in the UFC. Is there another Silva?
I think there's another one. I think there's two. They're both Brazilian.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure.
That's maybe where I'm confused because I did see that it was this guy's debut in the UFC, and I was like, I could have swore there was another.
There's so many different Silvas.
Silva, but maybe I'm tripping.
No, I think there's one that's at middleweight, and there's another one that might be at like bantamweight or featherweight. I can't remember though.
Okay,
so
maybe that's what I'm thinking of. I don't know, but either way, we'll see that one.
Yeah, I think this card, obviously for a fight night card, it's going to be interesting to see how the fights play out. Just with the preliminary card, I don't have enough knowledge on some of these fighters. I know Virna Jandiroba, she beat Felice Herrig, and then she fought Mackenzie Dern, which I was thinking if she beats Mackenzie Dern, that'll help propel her up to that next, like the next level in competition. And she fought terribly against Mackenzie Dern. So it'll be interesting to see as well. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how she comes back. Another guy, which is the headline of the preliminary card, is Alexa Khmer. He's looking like a really good up and comer. 25. The guy he's fighting is 26. But it'll be interesting to see how these fights play out because I think Alexa Khmer has won both of his fights in the UFC thus far. And other than that, I really don't know anybody else here.
Yeah, I'm not too knowledgeable about that many people on this card either. I don't know who Chaos Williams is. I don't think I've ever seen him fight, but I like the name Chaos Williams. That's pretty dope.
He has a really good knockout.
Yeah.
I'm
just saying his name is Chaos.
He threw a straight. I think he threw like a straight right or a straight left right through a guy's guard when he was trying to block it and starched him.
Okay.
Isn't that Covington's nickname?
Chaos. Yeah, Colby Chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this ain't even his nickname. That's just his name is Chaos. I like it.
Oh, that's his first name?
No, it's Kalen.
It says Chaos.
Yeah, I don't know. There's no telling what his actual. I guarantee you, Kalen is his name on his birth certificate.
I was like, I don't think his name's Chaos.
I hope he legally changed his name to Chaos.
With a K though, cool. Like KAOS, chaos.
I don't even care.
Yeah, so I guess let's just get started with the main card. We'll just make our predictions for the main card. That's probably our best bet.
Yeah,
that's where I know most of these guys. For the Matt Brown and Diego Lima fight, I really think Diego Lima's gonna win here, and pretty handedly. Like it's gonna be an exciting fight. But I think Diego Lima is really going to put Matt Brown away. And I think this is Matt Brown's last fight.
Okay.
Because he's 24 and 18. He's 40. Yeah, 40 years old. And he's never going to.
I felt like he was older.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
That's because he's been around the UFC for a long time.
Yeah.
But he's not anywhere close to the same when he was in title contention, within the last 5 years. He's never going to get that close to the title again. I don't even think he's going to smell the top 10 again. So
that chin's a little.
Yeah, you've taken a lot of head kicks and a lot of
fights,
damage. So
there's been some wars, man.
Yeah. Cowboy, Diego, he put it on Diego. Jake Ellenberger. Pretty sure he fought Johnny Hendricks. There's you look at some of the top guys that are in the welterweight division or have been, and he's probably fought them. So it doesn't surprise me that his record is 24-18 just because of some of the guys he's fought.
That Carlos Condit and Matt Brown fight happened way too late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine 6 years ago, how entertaining that would have been.
Carlos won that fight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a no-brainer, I think.
Yeah.
To me.
I think
for my pick, I'm also going to go with Diego Lima. Man, it hurts me to pick against Matt Brown. I just don't know if his cardio is where it used to be. You know what I mean? That would be a big factor, that if he could end up getting Diego against the cage and stuff and keep him from firing off, maybe that would be an advantage with his cardio. But at this point in his career, I don't even know if he has enough cardio to do that. I mean, I guess it's only a 3-round fight, so I'm still going to go with Diego Lima, but it wouldn't surprise me if Matt Brown won this one.
Okay. Next one is the Wellington Turman versus Bruno Silva. I'm going to go with Bruno Silva. I think that the UFC newcomer, he's been in big-time fights. He's been a champion in a other organization. I'm going to go with him, mostly because Wellington Turman, I can't really think of anybody that he's fought. That's, even though there's a significant age difference, Wellington's 24, Bruno's 31, but that experience and that age, who knows, might be a crafty vet, even though Turman's got 20 fights. So I'm going to go with Silva. Just he's going to put on it's the UFC newcomers that have been, really doing good recently. So I'll just keep it going with that.
Okay.
Cool.
Who do you guys got?
I'll go with, I think I'm going to go with Turman on this one. He's still fairly young, and he can improve. He just came off of a TKO loss. It could be motivating. I hope it's a motivation factor for him to come back and get this. And he doesn't come out gun shy or anything like that. You know what I mean? I hope that he's went back to the drawing board and improved. And I think he'll get the win off of this one, off the guy with the debut.
Yeah.
You agree, Jeffrey?
Yeah, I agree. I think Wellington takes this one. I just think his jiu-jitsu is really good. And I think that he needs to win this fight. They nicknamed him the Phenom coming up. You know what I mean? Because he was a jiu-jitsu phenom, and look, if you give yourself that nickname, eventually you got to live up to it.
Phenom.
Yeah, Phenom, prodigy. I think he's one of those, something like that.
You got to do something if your nickname's that.
Yeah, and he's 24, so he should be coming into his own now as a fighter. I think that he should win this fight, but I think Silva's a slight favorite. But yeah, I'm still going to go with Turman.
Well, the fact that he's 24 years old and he already has 20 professional MMA fights, that's almost unheard of, because that means he started at a very young age, probably right when he turned 18, or maybe even before then. So
I seen a comment on Twitter though today, and it was like a meme, and it said that Wellington Turman looks the same type of Brazilian as Chael Sonnen. Like that bitch ain't Brazilian, man. He's white.
That's like Mackenzie Dern and her different accents and her Brazilian. Yeah. All right. So in featherweight, we got Julian Erosa versus Choi Sung Woo. based on what you're saying, I think Choi's gonna snap this skid in this fight. I don't know why my gut's telling me to go with him, but I just think he's gonna snap the skid, and even if it's a decision, I think it's a win's a win. So what do you guys think?
I think Julian Erosa, he was on the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah, one of those contenders or Ultimate Fighters.
I think it was a Contender Series. I think.
Yeah.
I thought it was
he
the
did.
Ultimate Fighter.
He did like a stint. He had a couple fights in the UFC, got released, went to some other promotions and stuff, and then did the Contender Series and came back or some shit like that.
Okay.
You know.
I don't know much about Choi, but I have seen Erosa fight a couple times. I think I'm going to go with Erosa here just because I'm familiar with him and I've seen more from him. I think I'm going to go with that. I think he's going to pull off a win here.
Just remember who had the most wins last week. Just remember.
I know. But Juicy J's got way more fights, and I just think that experience is something that you can't make up for. So
yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Jeffrey?
I think I'll go with Choi Sung-woo. First of all, I have like this thing in my head that eventually one of these like Korean fighters got to take over. You know, they got to start dominating. So I got to get on the fucking bandwagon early.
Yeah.
You know, on some of these guys. But I think Sung-woo takes it.
Okay. I'm glad we're in agreement, Jeffrey.
Damn it.
Yeah. He's just unorthodox. You know, those fighters are unorthodox, man, and they're very hard to if you haven't fought like a Korean fighter and shit, they're fucking different. You know, they fight different, they stand different. I just think that he's got something different than Erosa, who 25-9 isn't a fucking slouch. So
no. All right. Bantamweight, Marlon Vera versus Davy Grant. I'm gonna go with Marlon Vera just because I think, Davy Grant, I think he has 2 finishes in a row, so that's impressive. Let me see here. Yeah, he's got, it might even be more. No. So he's got 2 finishes in a row. The biggest thing is he's only fought like 3 times in the last 3 years. This will be his 4th fight in the last 3 years. And he's getting up there in age. Okay. Whereas Marlon Vera I feel like he's starting to climb that mountain. He's trying to reach that peak. And his performance against Sean O'Malley was spectacular. It was flawless. A great game plan when he derailed that hype train, which didn't really go off the rails all that much because you look at Sean O'Malley, he's put on 2 really good performances since then.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Cheeto, he's a really good fighter, and he's 28 years old. He's still young in the game. I don't think he's reached his peak yet. He's still getting up there. And I think he is going to really try and avenge that loss to Davey from the first time that they fought years back. Davy Grant, I mean, he's 13-4, but he's 35 years old. I don't know if it's injuries that has really plagued his career or what, but I just think Marlon Vera's on that high trajectory.
Yeah, he's on that upward trajectory for sure.
Yeah. So I'm going with Marlon Vera. I think it's going to be a banger. I think they both like to stand. And if it does go to the ground, I feel like Marlon Vera's he's probably better on the ground. So if it's either way, I've got Marlon Vera winning by unanimous decision. It's not going to be a finish, but it's going to be a banger.
Okay, I'm going to agree with you on Marlon Vera. I think that he's fought some really tough guys. Of course, Jose Aldo being the last, and maybe you get a little rub of greatness from that man. And that's something, even though he lost or whatever, that's really good for your career to get in there and get experience with some of those guys. So I think that he's just on another level right now. and I think that he's going to win. And I think it'll be a unanimous decision.
Okay, Jeffrey.
Yeah. I'm thinking the same way you guys are. You know, you like the people that he's fought lately, you don't exactly hear Davy Grant and you're like, fuck, this is tough. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think Marlon Vera's really worried about going in there and dominating this fight. And we've seen like people like Marlon Vera, who he's only 28, right? But like he's got 7 losses, but we've seen this in UFC history where like a guy comes in with 7 losses and then figures it out, you know, where he goes on that latter career run, you know, into his prime, where he wasn't dominating as a young fucking fighter, but it clicked somewhere along the line and now he's getting to his prime and he's going to dominate. That might be where Marlon Vera's at or where he's heading.
Charles Oliveira, the champion at 155. He's had a long career in the UFC. He started young. He lost some fights and now he's the champ.
That dude made his debut on Fuel TV. Dude.
Fuel
TV.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's what I'm saying with Marlon. That's how I feel about it. Like I feel like he's on that upward thing where like, okay, we got it now. It's figured out.
And I'm pretty sure that some of the losses that Marlon has I think he has a couple of split decision losses, which I think he should have won.
Yeah.
He just, you know, it's with the way judging is in the MMA right now. I mean, it's been around for 28 years, but it doesn't change the fact that it's still a young sport.
Yeah.
Like it really is still young.
Well, that's only going to bode well for him in his latter career too, when he realizes that he doesn't want to get this. He doesn't want to put this in the judge's hands, you know. It's like that kill mentality is a fucking thing that older folks learn, the older fighters learn, you know, like, all right, it's close. If I want to win this fight, I'm going to need to do something.
I got to take a risk.
I got to take a risk.
Yeah,
you know, I have to do this fight. Where there's not a lot of people that go through that unless you've experienced like multiple split decisions where you're like, what the fuck, you know, like I could have done this or I should have done this.
Yeah. Okay. So sounds like we're all going Marlon Vera here.
Yeah.
Heavyweight co-main event. Alexei Oleinik versus Sergey Spivak.
This fight intrigues me a lot, actually. For some reason.
Me too.
Like a lot.
I'll be honest. I was just gonna go Alexei Oleinik Ezekiel choke. That's my go. that's my guess. I don't care what round. It's gonna be a Ezekiel choke.
That's all I hope for. Like
I like Alexei Oleinik. He's like the old guy that I always root for.
Yeah.
Because it's cool to see an older guy who's got almost 60 career wins.
Fucking 59-15, dude.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is insane.
And like I don't know how many of them are from that choke either, but a lot of them are.
In the UFC alone, I think 3 or 4.
I think he already holds the record for it in the UFC. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he does.
So like I'm going with him as well. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it's the Oleinik choke, but whatever, man. Yeah. I'm down with that. I want to see it. The other guy I believe has a significant like weight advantage on him, unless
20 pounds.
Yeah, well, that's Alexei Oleinik he's like one of the smaller heavyweights too. I'm pretty sure because he looks so small compared to like Walt Harris. He looked so small compared to Derek Lewis. He looked small against Fabricio Verdum. Every single heavyweight that he fights, he looks small. He looks like he could be a 205er.
The thing that keeps him like from getting absolutely smashed when he should is his reach. He has 80 inches, dude.
Yeah.
So even though he's like long fucking arms, dude. So even though he's
got legs for
and smaller, he's got some long fucking arms.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you get choked up.
Like he's got reach advantage on this guy for sure.
Yeah.
So Jeffrey, who are you going with? Are you going with Alexei?
Yeah, I think I have to. You know, like
we're all doing it just for the choke memes, dude.
I want to see a guy get to 60. Get to 60 wins. Get to 60.
Here, that's all. Look, man. And to be completely honest, like I don't really know a lot about this guy.
Sergey?
About Sergey. Like I don't know a lot about him. He's fucking 12-2.
Yeah.
So I'm sure this is his entry into the heavyweight. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
hey man, you get past Alexi, now we can start talking about 15 rankers and 14. Like,
Yeah.
I think he's got to get past it, but goddamn, Olenik's a savage, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I like that,
Like,
man.
he's
I don't
An
know what
old
it is.
savage, dude.
Yeah.
He is
Yeah, he's
literally
just
the
old.
definition of a crafty vet. He is the definition. 59, 15, and 1. And I'm pretty sure half of those losses are just UFC. Because
Bro, yeah, that's who I'm gonna go with, dude. I can't go against him, dude.
I know. He's just like a person. He's like a fan favorite. Every time he fights, I'm like, look at you, you old guy, go get it.
Could you imagine drinking vodka with that man?
Fuck. He probably put me in an
Just-
Ezekiel choke.
Yeah, I don't know if I would. I'd be so scared.
Yeah.
He looks like an old alcoholic doctor who's just really good at fighting.
I like it. From like Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Main event. Chain Sung Jung, the Korean Zombie versus Dan 50K Ige. I am super excited for this fight. Dan Ige is a stud. He's an absolute beast. And obviously Chain Sung Jung, the only real issue he's had was the Brian Ortega fight. And I really think it was because there was too much personal connection to that, because he wanted to beat Brian Ortega so badly over Brian Ortega, like smacking the crap out of some Korean singer or like musical artist.
One of his friends.
Yeah, it was one of his friends. And so I think he was just too emotionally invested in that fight. Whereas normally he goes in and he's just your standard Korean Zombie, where you look at when he fought, Dennis Bermudez on his first fight back from his mandatory military service, and he looked really good. Or his fights against Yair Rodriguez, where even though he lost, he was winning that fight the whole time up until he just got caught with that elbow, which, props to Yair. It was just one of those things, it's you win some, you lose some, but no matter what, you always know that the Korean Zombie is going to be in an exciting fight. And I feel like this one is going to be the same way, but I feel like Dan Ige is going to win.
Didn't he fight Frankie Edgar as well?
He did fight Frankie Edgar.
Yeah. He won that one, didn't he not?
I'm pretty sure he did. Let me look.
Was it a TKO?
Yeah, he beat him by TKO.
Yeah, okay.
And he beat Hinata Moicano when Hinata Moicano was, he was only had like one loss at the time.
He was like scary,
yeah. Dude. Yeah. And the last fight that he had, at featherweight before he had to do his mandatory military service was in 2013, where he lost to Jose.
Yeah.
So,
and he was doing really good in that fight until he blew out his shoulder.
Yeah. So he beat Dennis Bermudez in his first fight back. He lost to Yair Rodriguez. He had knockouts, first round KOs and TKOs of Hinata Moicano and Frankie Edgar in 2019. Last year, he only fought once against Brian Ortega and lost. So even though he's 34,
that's some fucking names, man.
Yeah,
I know.
So some fucking names.
He has 6 losses, and you look at some of those losses, it's like, oh, okay, well, those are some of like the featherweight greats.
Yeah.
So,
and what concerns me the most is, he's still fairly inactive. We just put off fights that were in 2019 and once in last year,
2018, he only fought once.
Yeah. So it's like, he still hasn't been super active. And I think what got him to the top was that he was pretty active, when he did fight Jose Aldo, he had been super active up until that point. So do we get the same Korean Zombie that we've had in the past? I don't know, just because he has been inactive, but I'll go ahead and let you do your pick, and then I'll state mine.
I'm going with Dan Ige.
Okay.
Strictly because he's been more active. Man, your dog is not happy.
Yeah, sorry about that.
It's all good. So Dan Ige has been more active. Obviously, his last fight, he fought Gavin Tucker, which guy wasn't ranked. It was, he knocked the guy out with one punch, and it was less than 20 seconds. I think it was less than 15 seconds. So it's one of those things where, due to activity, how active he's been in comparison, and the fact that he's much younger, and I feel like he's fought some of those bigger name guys, like he fought Mirsad Bektic, he fought Calvin Kattar, he's fought Edson Barboza, he's fought some really good guys. Obviously, so has the Korean Zombie, but more recently, and just being more active, I got to go Dan Ige.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Korean Zombie. I can't,
Okay.
not as I've already have biases that I have already admitted are there, but I just, dude, I want him to be I want him to be what he used to be, like what we knew we were getting. And I hope this fight gives him the opportunity. If he wins this fight, like, we're back, baby. We're talking about fighting some bad motherfuckers again. So
Dan Ige is no slouch.
That's what I'm saying.
The thing that I think I'm most excited about is that they're both gonna bring it. They're both stand-up guys. They're both gonna just go at each other, and that's what I feel is the most exciting part about this fight.
Yeah, you get over Dan Ige, and you got a notch on your belt.
Yeah, for sure.
Shit. He's fucking good.
Yeah, and young.
Yeah,
he's a young guy. So, Trenton, who do you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Korean Zombie here. I'm going with my heart. I want him to come back into the old zombie ways, and I want him to win by TKO in round 2. That's what I want.
TKO round 2.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Just a war.
Dan Ige is, well, I mean, Korean Zombie's known for putting the pressure on, and those guys, hopefully they go into his game and they just trade off, and the Korean Zombie can catch him first. Dan Ige is no slouch. I mean, I think the odds are Dan Ige wins this. I just want me some Korean Zombie, and that's going to be my pick for this time around.
All right, I'll be right back, boys. I don't know if you guys want to keep talking about this or if you want to move on. Another thing that I did want to bring up while we're on featherweights, Max Holloway and Yair Rodriguez, that fight got postponed because Max Holloway is hurt. It's an undisclosed injury right now. Nothing's really been released yet in reference to that. So
no time.
They don't have a time frame because they were supposed to fight next month.
Yeah.
But that fight got postponed due to Max Holloway injury, which, I mean, that guy's probably the most active featherweight right now. Max is probably the most active. And the thing is, the guy is the most active and he should be the champion. Like, I feel like he beat Volkanovski in the last fight because although it was close, I still feel like he did enough to win that fight. Big John McCarthy, who basically wrote the rules of MMA, he even said, he's like, I wrote the rules. Max Holloway won that fight. So yeah, it's just unfortunate because you already knew that Max was going to bring it and Yair was going to bring it too. So if you guys want to discuss that real quick, I'll be right back. I'm going to use the restroom.
Yeah. I think that it's probably an MCL or something like that. They didn't call the fight off completely. They just postponed probably. So hopefully it's not a big injury, man. What was this last injury?
Max Holloway?
Yeah.
I don't think we knew what his last one was. It was just from, remember he was cutting weight and everything and he was slurring his words and everybody kind of just thought everything wasn't right. And hopefully it's not that because I mean,
he shouldn't be weight cutting right now anyways.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just hoping that something isn't going on with, with that. I don't know. That's just one of those scary situations when involved in fighting when they cut weight and too much weight, because Max, he's a big 145er, you know what I mean?
He's a big 155er.
Yes. So, I mean, yeah, either way, that's a lot of weight to cut and all that stuff. So I'm hoping it's not the same thing that happened last time. I'm not saying that he should be cutting that weight that early, but what if it's already starting, and you just got into camp or something like that and those problems reoccurred? That's not a good thing.
I can't wait to see the mentions in the Twitterverse going around that him playing video games too much is fucking hurt his MMA career.
I
and
saw,
shit like
dude,
that.
I saw a meme that somebody said he's like undisclosed injury is a gamer thumb.
Yeah.
That's what
see,
thumb.
It's already started.
It's already
man.
started.
Yeah, I fucking knew that would come. Like, well, he's getting soft, man. He's playing video games.
Warzone, baby.
Meanwhile, Demetrius Johnson, he's like the first one to really kick off the Twitch channel for the MMA fighters. He still does it, and he's been doing it, and he's considered the pound for pound best, and has been for the last 6-7 years.
I wish we could get him back.
Oh man,
can we trade Ben Askren?
I wish we could get him back. I just want to get him back.
They can have.
How many more fights he got on? How many fights he got on that contract?
I don't know if he re-upped with one, because I think he really likes it there.
Yeah,
like
I don't think he has any intention.
He has so much more competition over at one than he ever did in UFC.
Like that weight division there is way more filled out.
I'm just saying, you bring Demetrius and you bring some competitors, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, because no matter, but his thing was like, he wasn't a draw, he couldn't sell fights or anything. I bet you enough people know now that he could sell some tickets.
But the thing is that it wasn't even, it's because he was just dominating these guys, and it was like, he's not a big enough draw because he's not a jerk. The reason why so many people want to watch Floyd Mayweather fight is because they just want to see him lose. So because he's got this bad guy persona, and that's
even just Henry Cejudo, because he was cringy.
Yeah, he's the king of cringe.
Yeah,
that Triple C though. But yeah, so hopefully that they can get that fight rebooked like sooner than later, because that is a fun fight. But in all honesty, I would really like it if this fight does fall through and Yair takes another fight. Hi Coda. If he does end up taking another fight, then Max gets a title shot after this, because Max deserves a title shot. He should have gotten a title shot before Ortega. Ortega is not the number one contender. Just because he beat Chang Sung Jung does not make him the number one contender. Sorry.
I mean, especially in the last fight. I mean, don't get me wrong, I respect and like Brian Ortega as a fighter and everything else, but he got absolutely demolished by Max. That was bad, and now you're just gonna let them skip. Why wouldn't he be fighting Max for the next shot? You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
Because Max has already fought Volkanovski twice and lost twice, even though I really feel like Max won both of those fights.
But we saw how much Brian Ortega's hands have improved when he was piecing up the Korean Zombie. Let's see if they've improved that much and put him back against Max Holloway and see if he does it again.
Because Max Holloway put on
lit, boy. Dude, that was crazy.
That was bad.
I honestly think it was.
That was crazy.
No, the worst was Max versus Calvin Kattar.
Yeah, that was worse.
That was the worst.
It was almost just as bad though.
Yeah. So that's just the most recent news in the featherweight division with Max and Yair.
That's a heartbreak.
Yeah, it's sad because I love Max. He's one of my favorites.
I'm pretty sure everyone does. I don't know how you couldn't love Max at this point in the UFC.
Yeah. So the next thing that we're going to talk about, Davison Figueiredo, obviously coming off that tough loss against Brandon Moreno. He made comments about his weight cut, and then kind of sounds like there was lots of excuses too. Like he was like, yeah, it's just, it was so hot out in Vegas and or in Arizona. It's the desert. I was drinking so much water. I don't know if I ate something bad. I don't know. But dude, the guy naturally, his natural weight is over 160 pounds. And he cuts to 125.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The week before his fight camp, or the week before the fight, he weighed in at 152 pounds. So that means he cut 27 pounds because you don't get that 1 pound allowance. It's the title fight. So you have to cut the 27. And he's like, I've always struggled with my weight and all this other stuff. And then he made comments. He's like, I really want to get that title back. I want to get the 100, my 125 title back. But, I don't know if I need to go up to 135 pounds. For me, it's like I said in the last podcast, I really think he just needs to go up to 135 pounds. He's too big and he depletes himself too much. And it's awesome. He's the champion, or he was the champion, and he was a dominating champion, but he just depletes himself too much.
I think that he should go up in weight.
Mhm.
And I think what's going to depend on that is if he gets a chance to get that belt back right away. If they offer him a chance to get that belt back, then he's going to stick 125, no doubt. But if there's a fight in between, or if Homeboy defends the belt against somebody else, then I think he probably goes up.
At this point, I agree that he should move up, and I think you're right, Jeffrey. If they give him the opportunity to fight and get his belt back, obviously he's going to take that, and why not? Because if you could get your title shot right away at 125, you might as well do that, because they're probably not going to give him an immediate title shot at 135. You know what I mean? And he's just a big dude at this point, and he's probably at the point, not even probably, at the point of diminishing returns. You cut so much weight, it takes a lot out of you, and he says he felt like shit. Maybe it was the water, maybe it was something you ate. Have you ever thought that it was your weight cut, bro? Like,
yeah,
that's a big ass weight cut. Like, you take that much out of you, like that's a lot. You're gonna feel like shit regardless of what you ate.
We've just seen fighters do this over and over and over again.
They hang on to the weight.
You should fucking move up, man.
Yeah.
You just hang on to it. And before you know it, if they'd have gone up 5 years ago, they'd have probably been fucking just a bigger dude now,
healthier.
And healthier, exactly.
Maybe even champ already.
And then by the time by the time you move up in weight, you've already beat down, too much. So,
well, and that, my thing is, obviously we've been through it we all wrestled. It's, my biggest thing is, I don't understand how this is what you do for a living. You're a professional. This is how you make your living. How is it that you let yourself balloon up that much? Even if that's your natural weight, you would think that you, outside of camp, you would, maybe have a nutritionist where you can keep your weight down, where you're not having to cut 27 pounds. Like, even if you were able to lower your natural body weight into the 150 or high 140s, that's way less weight that you have to cut. But it sounds like it's a personal thing where outside of camp, you just balloon up. And I know it's because as fighters, obviously everybody loves their food. Everybody loves to eat or drink beer or partake in things that we all love to enjoy. But if this is what I do for a living, if this is what I do to provide food and shelter for my family, I would be taking things a little bit more serious, and I wouldn't be draining myself so significantly that it hinders my performance.
I think that that's one of those things that is everywhere, not just specifically rendered to this case. I feel
absolutely.
There's got to be smart decisions going on in camps, and somebody to be like, look, if you're going to do this while you're not camping, that's fine, but you need to start looking at going up to 35.
Yeah.
Or fucking 45, or whatever it is, And I think a lot of camps are afraid are a lot of trainers, or maybe they're too friendly, or whatever the case is. Like, you got to give hard facts and be like, look, man, you can't keep doing this for fucking ever.
Yeah.
And it's got to be one of those conversations where it's not too late.
Yeah. Agreed.
He's only getting older, and like at this point, you got to live that professional lifestyle. He cuts the weight, but he doesn't have that much weight to lose. The dude is shredded.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
he doesn't have a high body fat percentage.
Yeah, it's not like he's cutting fat and all that stuff. He's draining water, and that's not good for you.
No.
I mean, that's when you get to like your body organs.
Your brain shuts down.
Yeah, there's no water to take the impact or anything from this. It's not healthy. It's only going to shorten his career. You know what I mean?
And like, it's only gotten worse for those two, as far as the way that you can hydrate and the way that you can. And it's not like that back in the day.
You can't IV anymore.
Yeah,
that's illegal.
Like, dude, as soon as they outlawed IVs, everybody should have just been like, you know what?
We're going up.
Up 10 pounds, man. Up 10 pounds. That's it. Just fucking everybody ladder up, dude. And that's what should have happened.
Yeah, I think just one of the biggest things is for a guy like that, he's a fun fighter to watch, and I would hate for him to be cutting his own career short because he's causing long-term health effects. Like, cutting all this weight now is going to hurt him. Obviously, I don't think he's not oblivious to this. I think he knows this. But a fighter's career is only so short. You need to start thinking about what's going to happen after this when you start having really bad like organ failure.
Imagine how good that dude could be at 135 too. It's like it's not like one of those weight jumps where you're, like where there's a natural light heavyweight and they want to go up to heavyweight, like, that's a big fucking thing. 125 to 135 and you're cutting 40 pounds. Yeah. Bro, just be a 135, man.
He might actually be a decent size 135.
Exactly. Be healthy, be ripped, get some power behind those fucking punches, dude.
Well, he's already powerful. He's already got
That's what
power.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just embrace that 135 life and fucking be a bruiser, man. Be a fucking bruiser at that weight.
I think we're in agreement on that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you guys have anything else to add in terms of that?
No, I just want to apologize. I got yard service over here. My dogs are barking.
That's all good.
I got all kinds of crazy stuff going on right now.
The last thing that I'll add to that in terms of Brandon Moreno is they asked him, like, who's the guy that you'd like to fight next? And he said, even though Cody Garbrandt's coming off of a loss, he's a solidified name. He's been a champion at 135, and he thinks that's a good challenge. And I would love to see that fight.
I would love to see it because Cody Garbrandt could knock his fucking mouth off, dude.
Yeah.
And that's that fact. That's the Cody Garbrandt factor, That's what took him to be a fucking champion, is he was knocking motherfuckers out.
Yeah.
And we've seen it very recently, just fucking whoop, it's over, And I mean, if you're fucking asking for that fight, I don't know, dude. I don't know if the risk is worth the fucking turn in that one.
Yeah.
If I was champion, I wouldn't want that fucking fight. No fucking way.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I don't. In my opinion, that's a good fight. Don't get me wrong, but why not? Where's the dude that just beat?
Yeah, Rob Font.
Where's Font?
But Rob Font.
Why not say anything about Font?
But Rob Font hasn't been in talks about wanting to go down to 125. Cody Garbrandt, when Figueiredo was the champion, Cody Garbrandt was like,
that's right. They're at 130.
He wanted
he
to
was
go to
talking about going
125.
down. Yeah, that's right. I was confused about the weight division in total itself because he even brought him into the category,
Yeah.
I guess that opinion goes out the window because that's a different weight class. Even though I guess, if Garbrandt does want to drop down to 125, he says he could make it, but I think that'd be depleting him.
So did TJ. Well. TJ made it, but TJ needed to do EPOs to get there.
I think Garbrandt could make that.
I think he could. I don't think Garbrandt's shredded. Like when you look at him,
TJ was so depleted.
When you look at Garbrandt, it's not like he has six-pack abs that protrude.
He's ripped, but he's got a little bit that he can cut.
because Cody Garbrandt's cut to 135 isn't as extreme.
He's never been suspect of it.
He
He's
said,
never
but he
struggled
even
with
said
it.
he's like, I don't let my body get above a certain point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he only
Yeah.
I think he stays in like the 150.
Sounds like a
That's what I'm
professional
saying. So
athlete.
it's not. It's it's not like his thing is mind melting. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like that's a normal weight cut.
Yeah.
Like probably better than normal weight cut in the UFC. So if he wanted to strain his body one time, just at a chance for a fucking belt, and that's your best shot, you think? Fucking make that cut, man.
Yeah.
All right.
I'd watch it.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Next up, we've got the PFL tournament that's going on right now, the welterweight tournament. The biggest fight, like, I mean, there's guys that were in the UFC that are fighting on this card. Like, you got Tom Lawler, you got Vinny Magalhaes, you got obviously Rory Mcdonald and Clayson Tebow. I don't know. Did Curtis Millender ever fight in the UFC? I don't remember.
I don't recognize the name.
Well, he fought Rory Mcdonald in the first round of the tournament,
Okay.
and Rory TKO'd him or submitted him. I can't remember.
Now, is this at 170?
This is the welterweight tournament.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because Vinny's
a light heavyweight, but there's a light heavyweight tournament going on,
so
and there's a
okay,
welterweight tournament.
Okay, yeah,
going on
just
right
like the last card when there was
Yeah.
2 different weight classes. Okay.
Yeah. So Vinny Magalhaes is
I thought you were just including those guys all in the same
No.
like brackets and all
No.
that, and I was like, whoa, dude, like that's
no. I was just
we're
saying
getting
that there's-
crazy of sizes on
yeah.
people. These guys are cutting lots of weight.
It's like I'm cutting 60 pounds. I got to cut my leg off.
I was like, damn, dude, these guys really want to win $1 million in the tournament, don't
Yeah. But yeah, so you got Rory McDonald versus Clayson Tebow. Obviously, Clayson Tebow's up there in age, and Rory McDonald, since leaving the UFC, going to Bellator, and then since leaving Bellator, I mean, Rory's like a born again Christian and was like, I don't even know if I want to do this and blah blah blah. I'm like, dude, you were the baddest man on the planet at one point. Like you and Robbie Lawler put on one of the greatest fights of all time, and that
The
was
Red
just
Machine, dude.
yeah. So how is it that you go from one of the baddest welterweights on the planet to this guy who's, kudos to you, you're a born again Christian, congratulations, to, I don't know if I even want to do this. I don't know if I want to hurt people. And then you goes to PFL and it's like a completely different switch.
Well, he looked pretty good up in his career until he fought Musasi, right?
Yeah, he fought Gegard. He went up to
he
185.
he moved up to try to get the double
well,
belts.
Gegard whooped him.
Yeah,
bad.
I watched that one, and he didn't look very good in that fight. And I don't
He's
know
not a
what he's looked like
185er.
since. Yeah,
He's too
no.
small.
And Musasi's no slouch. That dude, in his own right, was
A beast.
like could have been champ at some points in the UFC. You know what I mean? Like he just never got a shot, and then he got unlucky with that Uriah Hall kick to the dome. But
Yeah, the spinning
yeah,
back kick. Yeah. And
because
then
he had just gone in for like the shot, and it
Yeah,
just hit
just-
him right in the head.
perfectly.
I think it's safe to say with this one, like Rory should win this fight.
Easily.
I don't think Tebow just lost.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's got anything in the gas tank that leads me to believe that he's going to hang around with Rory, even if
Yeah.
we are getting like some softer new Rory, which fucking breaks my heart.
No,
Yeah.
I think his mindset's changed. I think he's back to that killer instinct. It's just that he had to find a good balance.
I think he
That's the
gets
biggest
into different things, and his motivation comes back.
Yeah.
Switching leagues and all this stuff. Because when he went over to Bellator,
He won the title.
yeah, he was a fucking savage again,
Yeah.
and then his motivations change and things. You bite off more than you can chew, and then okay, now you're in PFL. Motivations come back, and he might be a fucking savage again, and that's what I'm hoping for.
I'd love to see him
Clayson
win this.
Tebow is a huge 155er
Yeah, who went up to 70.
who moved up to 70, and I'm interested to see how big he looks now.
He looks massive. The
Yeah.
weigh-in picture, he looks
Yeah.
huge.
Okay.
Um,
But I still think Rory should win this, and I think he should win it fairly easily
Yeah.
if he could just keep Gleason off of him.
Yeah.
If he could just keep stuff the takedowns and everything,
yeah.
then he should win this fight.
That's what I think too. I would love for Rory to win the PFL tournament and go back to the UFC.
I would love
and
it too.
Fight Khmer.
God, I would love it. God, I would love it. Dude.
That would be
the
man most ideal situation. He's like, yeah, thanks for the $1 million. I'm out.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't even really him. It was his nose was failing him. Remember, like,
yeah, he would
get breathed on and fucking his nose would crush. And you're like, God damn it, dude.
Well, I mean, after the Robbie Lawler fight, he fought Wonder Boy, but he came back too soon. That's when he got clipped with that shot by Wonder Boy. I think it was like a hook or something. And it just busted his nose open again.
Yeah.
He just should have, and that's what he did after he left the UFC, was he took a long enough break where he didn't rush to fight in Bellator. He gave himself time to let his nose heal up completely and then came back.
Well, then after that too, you still have that feeling out period and that confidence period that you're able to take a fucking shot. You know what I mean? Like, do you imagine, like, I mean, no shit, dude, like 4 fights in a row, his fucking nose was just shattered.
Yeah.
You know, and then like gaining the confidence again to take a shot like that. Like,
you don't fight prime Robbie Lawler without some kind of consequence.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, so that's really the only fight that I really wanted to talk about, just because that's the biggest one right now in PFL. I guess going back to our conversations from last podcast, Marvin Vettori's still under the impression that he won both of those fights against Izzy. He's convinced, and he's like, denial ain't just a river in Egypt, Marvin. Let's just remember that. All right.
That motherfucker's delusional, dude.
And I just don't understand how. I mean, clearly Izzy won. I had Izzy up 5-0. Some people had 4-1. I had 5-0. I don't know what you guys. I think
all the judges were unanimous too.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that never fucking happens ever.
No. And
it's fucking dominant.
But Marvin's is like, well, you know, I'd like to fight Paulo Costa next. And this is the part. This is where everything starts to go downhill for him, because he's going to realize that you're not fighting Jack Hermanson anymore. You're not fighting Kevin Holland, who has no wrestling. You're not fighting, like, in the grand scheme of things, the only big name who he fought that's in relevance is Jack Hermanson. That's it. I mean, there was really nobody else. Kevin Holland stepped in on short notice.
Look, this was his shot. We talked about it after the fight. Like, this was your one shot, dude, and you missed your chance to blow. You know, like, that's it, man. Like, there's nobody else. Look, if you want to fight Costa, make it. I don't give a fuck, because as far as Costa, I'm off that fucking bandwagon too.
Yeah.
Like, make that fucking fight.
Well, and that's where I think what I said on the last podcast is, this is where I feel like he's going to lose 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 5, because he has no choice. He has to take these top 5 ranked guys, but he's not going to beat Darren Till. He's not going to beat Robert Whitaker. He's not going to beat Paulo Costa. He's not going to beat Jared Cannonier. He's not going to, like, you list it, every guy in the 185-pound division, there's very few guys. Kelvin Gastelum, he would never fight because they're teammates, but Kelvin would beat him.
He beat the shit out of him.
Yeah. So there you go. I don't see him winning any of these, like, really top 5, top 6, top 7 fights.
Well, that's why we were saying, you know, and I think, not to beat a dead horse, but that's why everybody was in agreement, like, hey man, this is all you got, dude. If you don't win this, you're not going to be relevant ever again. And that's a dick thing to say, dude, because I don't, you know, that motherfucker beat the shit out of me. Well, but, like,
and none of this is personal.
Yeah, sorry, man. It's just, it kind of is what it is, though. The fucking stars aligned for you. You shouldn't have been in that fight. You shouldn't. Not even close to that fight, you know? And you had your chance, and you got 5-0'd, man.
Yeah, for sure. Trenton, do you have any thoughts on
I'm in agreement with you guys. I got a leaf blower right outside my window.
That's all good.
I'm in agreement with you guys. I think that was his shot, and he's got. I mean, if dude, he could prove us all wrong and beat these guys.
Yeah.
I don't think he's capable of it, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I just don't think that I've seen that from him in his performances. So there's that. Sorry guys.
That's all good. It's all good. Yeah. So again, like you just said, Jeffrey, there's no need to beat a dead horse. I think we're all in agreement on this. And again, none of it, for me, it's not even a like or dislike Marvin thing. If we're going to be, podcasters and, we're not really analysts, but at the same time, I feel like we have we have a deep appreciation for the sport, and we can look at something and it's kind of like we can look at any specific fighter. And I think we could almost all be in agreement about, where a fighter's at and where they should go next. But for me, I just don't see Marvin being that top guy in the middleweight division.
And I think everybody understands that Marvin's not being truthful to himself neither.
No, he's absolutely not. Yeah. All right. So the next thing, I said that the guy that I think that Brandon Moreno should fight next is Askar Askarov.
Mm-hmm.
It was just announced that they're in an agreement to fight Alex Perez. I don't know if this is going to be the start for that number one contender fight. But I'm pretty sure Davison Figueiredo handled Alex Perez in pretty easy, within a minute or a minute and a half, he beat him. So I really think Askar Askarov is the number one contender. If it all depends on if Figueiredo goes up to 135, which I think he should. You guys think he should, unless he obviously gets this rematch.
Which this kind of points to.
Yeah. But it could be let Brandon Moreno heal, and they come back to this fight. And was it Brandon Moreno? Did he get a 6-month suspension for medical?
No, and nothing happened to him, really.
Well,
I don't think he would get 6.
He got hit his eye. I don't know.
I don't think it's 6 months.
But either way,
we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Either way, we just need to see what happens. I still think Askar Askarov is the next in line. Obviously depending on how his fight with Alex Perez goes, but I think Askar's just on another level right now. So I feel like he's gonna win. He's gonna be the number one contender, and I feel like Brandon Moreno fights him next.
I agree with that. I think that they should have already. I mean, if they're trying to figure out what's next or whatever, I guess you kind of wait and see what Figueiredo's going to do, or with the weight or whatever. But if that's out of the equation, then it should have been Askar.
Yeah.
Yes.
They should already line that up and then let them do it. I know this. I think it was actually scheduled fairly recently, right?
That fight just, I think, 2 days ago.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't, in my head right there already kind of makes me think that they want Figueiredo to fight again for it, because I don't know why you would sign this fight 2 days after, or whatever, a couple days after that title fight just happened. And they're like, hey,
especially if you had your guy, if you had your guy lined up.
Yeah. That's what I mean. They could have, instead of doing that, they could have just said, hey, this is your guys' next fight in 6 months when you guys are both ready to go.
If Brandon Moreno needs clearance from an orthopedic doctor,
okay,
and his 180 days suspended.
Okay, so
and then
so
he's
that's
got no
6 months.
contact for 30. Yeah. But he just needs clearance. They're not saying that that one's gonna go away because his doctor's gonna be like, oh, you just have a sprained foot or whatever, no major damage, 30 days or whatever, That's not.
Well, that's why I wasn't sure. I saw something about Champion, and I was like, "There's no way that was Izzy, unless Izzy's foot got hurt from kicking
the shit out of his legs."
Marvin, yeah,
which is possible.
And then, just getting kind of to the conclusion of today's episode. Jake Shields was recently on the Schmozone podcast, and he talked about just last week being there with Nate, being there with Nick, and how obviously we know he's very close with those guys. He also talked about Nick, because we had discussed what Nick is going to do. He said basically he's talked to Nick, and it sounds like, you know, he wants to be at 170. So that means I think Nate probably goes to 155. And it sounds like possibly a Jorge Masvidal fight. If they can get that in the works, Nick wants to fight big name fights. It would be kind of like a Stockton slap to the face, if you will, if he were to fight some incoming newcomer. Like Khamzat Chimaev is a great fighter, but I think he's not solidified enough in terms of like a Nate or a Nick Diaz fight. So I'll get your guys' thoughts on that. And I'll be right back as well. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I think that just kind of confirms what we all just thought on the last podcast anyways, that if Nick does come back, that we would like to see him versus Masvidal. I think both of them would be dumb not to take that fight. It's going to be a fight that everybody's going to tune into because of what happened in the last one, you know, and then let's make that one for the bad motherfucker belt. Let's do it again, you know. Now he wins and he's got the belt, you know, or whatever. Nate wins that fight, or not Nate, but Nick wins that fight. Then he's got the belt and he took it away from Masvidal. Or Masvidal wins it. He is legit the baddest motherfucker because he beat both Diaz brothers. You know what I mean? Like,
and then you could even run a Nate. You could even run a Nate after that. Be like, have Nate start talking that shit again. You know, it's like it's fucking endless. But dude, I mean, I think that's the fight to make. That even three idiots that started a podcast talking about fighting, which they have no business talking about. Yeah. even we lined that one up. You know, like, dude, if you look, Masvidal and Nick Diaz, book it, make it. It's the best for both possible fucking parties, and it leaves so much room for stories afterwards, that storylines afterwards, you know, that like just fucking run it and see where it goes.
Yo, Sean Shelby, just hit us up and you know, we got some fights lined up for you.
Sean Shelby, Hunter Campbell.
Yeah.
Local
fairgrounds, Butte County, like yo, fucking line me up, dude. I'll fucking make all those fights.
I just obviously that this is one of the things that we talked about on the last podcast. And I was thinking, I was like, man, we're getting pretty good at this. I think we were already good at this beforehand, which is another reason why I wanted to do this podcast with you guys. Because I just feel like we have a good enough feel for, even if I haven't actively participated in, you know, combat sports, but I still care enough about the sport as a whole to be able to feel like I know what I'm talking about. So I'm really interested to see what comes of that. We haven't heard from Jorge Masvidal really since like a couple days or a day after his fight with Khmer, and I would love to see that fight. It would be super entertaining. The story would be great, and maybe they could put the BMF belt up.
That's what we were saying when you went on your way. I was like, they could put the BMF belt up, and if Masvidal wins, then he beat both Diaz brothers, and you know, he solidified it. And then if Nick wins, it's back in Stockton. You know what I'm saying? Like, here we go.
Yeah, and if Masvidal wins and he wants to make another payday, Nate starts talking shit again. Like, that fight was stopped. I won that fight. You know, Nate, like, I won that fight. That in a real fight, I was winning that fight.
I was winning that fight. I was coming back. The doctor stopped it.
Yeah.
I'll say this. This is one meme that I saw recently. It was a picture of Leon Edwards, and it said the only guy in MMA right now that's been given a 3-piece and a soda and a Stockton slap. I was like, Jesus Christ. So
the dude should be full.
Yeah. And then the last thing for me that I really wanted to discuss was Darren Till came out yesterday and posted a video and preface the video by saying, can we please kick Brendan Schaub out of the MMA community? Because the video was Brendan Schaub going into Logan Paul's locker room after his fight with Floyd Mayweather, and he's just absolutely blowing him up. He's like, bro, that what the fuck? That was a win. That's a win. All this other stuff. And it, you know, and I think Logan Paul's like, what, like, he looks just absolutely shocked. Like, what the fuck are you doing in here in the first place? And it was like just so cringy. And then today, an episode comes out of Food Truck Diaries, which is Brendan Schaub's one of the 50,000 different things that he has right now in terms of podcasts or
You gotta
whatever.
respect the grind.
No, absolutely. I 100% respect it. I like Brendan Schaub. I don't like how he flip-flops though. And he flip-flops all the time. And 100%. Absolutely, 100%.
100% Schaub.
Yeah.
And for me, and that, well, and just to finish what I was saying, he has Jake Paul on the Food Truck Diaries, and I haven't watched it yet. I just saw it before we started the podcast. I saw that there was a new episode up. So I'll probably watch it after this just to see what he says. But I mean, what are your guys' thoughts? Because for me, that's not a win. That's not, to me, you're 35, 40 pounds heavier than Floyd. You're in terms of boxing, you're 10 weight brackets ahead of Floyd.
I think that Brendan Schaub is a very business savvy man now.
Yeah. He
turned his friendship with Joe Rogan, and I'm not saying that's bad, dude. It's the Joe Rogan effect. It happens to fucking everybody who associates with that man. But he turned it into a goddamn empire, man. Like, I mean, really, he's got like 4 podcasts now, fucking clothing lines. People still file in to see his fucking comedy shows. And this is just his way of keeping all those fucking younger TikToker fans and fucking that generation of people who love to see Logan and fucking the Paul brothers talk shit and dude. And he's just playing all the sides, man. He was also got his Showtime thing, so he was able to get access back there. You know what I mean? Like, he's just got his hands in so many fucking things that, like, he'd be stupid to cut off and alienate one side of his fucking audience. And I just think that do I find it annoying? Of course, dude.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's Brendan 100% Schaub.
Yeah.
And I
100%. 100%.
I like it. I like it. But yeah, dude. I don't want to see you go in and fucking stroke Logan Paul's fucking ego more, dude, because he doesn't.
Or Jake.
Unless, like I will say every fucking show that we talk about this in, unless they step in the octagon with somebody, I don't want to fucking hear about this bullshit.
Yeah. Well, and just one last thing before you go, Trenton. Last week he had Tyron Woodley on Food Truck Diaries, and so that's another reason why I'm interested to hear what he's going to say to Jake Paul, because he had Tyron Woodley on last week. So I want to be able to hear and compare the things that he said to Tyron and the things that he said to Jake, and just see what is there. How much of a contradiction is, or how much changes with each person that you're talking
to. I think that Brendan Schaub is smart, and you gotta stay neutral. You know, like he goes in there, he strokes his ego, whatever. He's probably his Tyron Woodley, whatever, like these things. He tells them what they want to hear on both sides. You know what I mean? Like, it's smart. He's getting the views. I mean, the people that are bringing in the views right now, he knows, are skyrocketing because of the Paul brothers.
Oh,
you know
absolutely.
What I mean? Like, anytime they're on it, probably a fucking million more views. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the way it is with the younger crowd. And he's smart, and he knows that. So you're not going to burn that bridge. You know, you go in there, congratulate the guy for not getting KO'd and doing his thing. Like, it is what it is. It doesn't upset me. I love Darren Till too. Darren Till is funny as shit. And he comes
out the pot like a motherfucker, dude.
Yeah, dude, I love that guy. I don't know what it is. He's one of my favorites right now. Him and Perry, dude. When they just go back and forth and talk shit to each other, that shit is gold. I wish they'd make their own show.
Yeah.
It's weird because they're friends, but they're not.
No.
Yeah. They just
He's,
talk
he's
shit.
like he blocked me. He blocked me on
Nonchalant.
Instagram because I said I was gonna knock him out and raw dog his girl.
Yeah.
He was like, and after that, he blocked me. I haven't talked to him since.
I just want to see them train together. I want to see them do a full fucking camp together or something like that. And
Yeah, I want to
actually
see him
what
be his
happens,
fucking corner man.
Yeah,
Oh,
I want to
dude.
see it like it was supposed to go down. I want.
It'd be hilarious because he would just dick around the entire time.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it would be hilarious.
I don't know, I just think that's my thoughts on it. I think Brendan Schaub's smart businessman and he knows what he's doing.
Again, 100%.
Yeah, 100%, dude.
Absolutely, 100%. I agree. He is very smart. He's very business savvy. I think the best thing that ever happened to him was Joe Rogan dropping just the truth on him and being like, he's like, you'd be surprised. He's like, no, I think you'd be surprised.
That was super hard to listen to.
I think that's why he look. I think Rogan was a fucking cocksucker for that. And I'm a Rogan fan, but god damn, that was so difficult to listen to. It was so rude and so on. I just didn't think
he didn't have to be on air.
On air.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's probably the best thing that ever happened to him, man. Because not only did Joe Rogan like start he's fucking helped him every step along the way.
Yeah.
So like, you know, you can call out Rogan for being a fucking complete dick because he was. But I mean, he set him up for success, and that's good to see.
Dude's making more money now than he ever was going to make fighting.
Not even close.
Yeah. And that was the biggest thing was also with Brendan and his talk of he's like there's no sponsors anymore. Like I make so much money off of sponsors that this deal with Reebok is terrible. He was one of the main guys that was like, this is terrible.
He was getting like $100,000 from sponsors or some shit like that.
He was making more money off of sponsors than he was off of his fight contract.
Yeah.
So, and just to come full circle on all this, I like Brendan Schaub. I love his Food Truck Diaries. I love The King and the Sting. I love The Fighter and the Kid. I love all his Showtime, like Below the Belt, all that stuff. And I'm pretty sure I just named all of his podcasts and everything else. Everything, the Thick Boys Bike Club, love it. But it doesn't change the fact that even though it's business smart, it still bothers me and it's really annoying. That's the only reason why I have a problem with it.
The only reason it feels weird to me is because it almost feels like you're backstabbing the MMA community by supporting him. But whatever. I
don't think Brendan gives a shit about that because even though he was an MMA fighter, obviously I think he just views himself more as an entertainer now at this point. Yeah. That I don't think he's focused on, you know, like I need to be truthful I need to be loyal to the MMA fans or the MMA.
He set himself up in a very good position to where he's got a lot of options on what to talk about because he's had his hands in all these things. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like he set himself up really fucking well.
Absolutely. And the nice thing, he's knowledgeable on the sport of mixed martial arts and he's in combat sports in general. Yeah. So, like you said, he set himself up in a good position. It just frustrates me that when you see stuff like that, it's like, God damn it, man. Like, I like you. I don't want to see this shit. And it's nothing against the Paul brothers. It's just so frustrating because how is it a win?
Yeah.
How?
You lost the fight.
You lost the fight. That's not a win.
He survived, bro.
That's like saying
good job, you're
Conor
1-1.
Conor McGregor.
That's the way I see it.
He won that fight. He lasted, this many rounds and he landed some good shots and all this other stuff. At the end of the day, the best thing, the most that Conor won was $120 million or whatever it was that he got from fighting Floyd. That was the biggest.
Conor McGregor beat the piss out of Paul, dude. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
This is
a boxing match.
This is how I look at it when I see that stuff. I'm like, maybe he's not saying, hey, you won the fight. Maybe it's more of like, hey man, you won at life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're winning at life, bro.
He's like I didn't
you just came up on cash and you didn't take too much damage.
In all fairness, he didn't say anything specific like this is a win. Yeah. I don't think he could just if we want to look at it that way, he left enough options open that it was like
That's
he's
how
like,
I
this
see it.
is a
You won
win.
life, bro.
You won at life. You just won $20 million.
Yeah.
You just won people's respect. Like he didn't specify, so it could be. All right, guys. Well, that does. Last thing.
Okay.
I just didn't write this down. The very last thing, Oscar De La Hoya has announced who he is boxing. He is boxing Vitor Belfort. And I think this Jeffrey just slow shake of the head.
I will not be watching this.
Clearly you're not in agreement.
I will not be watching this.
No, because obviously Oscar De La Hoya wanted to box GSP and Dana White said absolutely fucking not. And good on Dana. And GSP seemed kind of bummed out because he views Oscar De La Hoya as a great, because he is a boxing great.
Yeah.
Whatever our personal feelings are of Oscar De La Hoya doesn't matter. But if you look at his fight career, he is one of the greats. But I can tell you right now, unless we're seeing TRT tour and he's able to throw some spinning head kicks, I will not be watching this fight. So
Vitor's a great boxer. Vitor's a great boxer, man. But I fucking refuse to give any money to Oscar De La Hoya, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
I might watch this just because it's a spectacle. Give me something to talk about.
I could just watch the highlights on Twitter. So
yeah, I mean that's true. That might be how I watch it. I don't know. I just want to.
We'll get together and review the Twitter highlights.
Yeah.
If it's not juiced up Vitor, then I won't watch it.
Yeah.
If it's juiced up Vitor and his traps are up to his ears, I'm into it.
And he's got the shaved cross on the side of his head with the mohawk, with the mohawk.
Dude, if it's not that Vitor,
bro, you give me fucking shit. You give me cross-shaven fucking mullet TRT Vitor, I'm back in.
Yeah.
I take everything out. You know how I feel about steroids, dude.
Yeah.
let him go, man.
Let him take it.
Let him take it, dude. Even the playing field, man. I want Uberim. I want TRT Belfort back in, dude. I want
EPO Dillashaw. I want
EPO Dillashaw, everything, dude. I want it all.
I want Anderson Silva. I want Dick Pill Anderson Silva and John Jones.
I want cocaine-fueled fucking TRT fucking John Jones, dude.
Give him his picograms back.
Yeah, give him those picograms, dog.
Have that dude do a line right before the cage. I don't give a fuck.
He might fight more reckless, and I'm into it.
Hey, I'm into it, man.
All right, guys. I think that's going to conclude it for episode 3. Thanks again, as always. Always have a good time with you guys. And hopefully, whether it's Sunday or Saturday night, whatever works for you guys, so that way we can get the just post-fight recap of the Ige and Korean Zombie card. It's, again, super excited for what's in store. And then for, again, you guys that are listening, whether it's on YouTube, please check us out on Anchor or any other platform, which is Google Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, Pocket Casts, and Radio Public. And then if you're listening to us, go over to our YouTube channel, which is Lamprey MMA Podcast. And thanks again for stopping in, and thanks you guys for another great episode.
Thank you, everyone.
Awesome, dudes. Later, guys.
All right, talk to you guys later.